I'm the fake heiress. When I was 13, our nanny suddenly claimed I was her daughter, saying I was a fake heiress and demanding I give her money to support her and my so-called biological brother. I looked at her, then turned around and reported her. One, my name is Ava Sullivan, and I've always felt I didn't resemble my parents. Both my parents look like movie stars, handsome men, beautiful women with great figures, and my brother is dashingly handsome too. Only me, like a pebble mixed into a pile of diamonds. The difference was too obvious. So when I was 13 and our nanny Maria said I was her biological daughter, I didn't question it much. There was no tearful mother-daughter reunion scene. She came straight to me asking for money. Your brother needs funds for high school. Once he makes something of himself and gets into Sullivan Group, he can support you too. After she spoke for a long time, I finally understood what she meant. She wanted me to grow up and take control of the Sullivan Group, preferably to seize the Sullivan family's fortune, and of course that seized fortune would ultimately be for my biological brother to use. Just a few sentences were enough for me to realize she's the type who believes sons are more important than daughters. In 3 sentences, she mentioned twice that women can't hold on to money, and twice that women need brothers to rely on and support them. I frowned slightly and thought for a moment that that's not what the Sullivans had told me. They said girls should study hard and improve every day, that girls and boys are equal, and that we should be self-reliant and independent. I don't have money. I'm only 13. What kind of money could a 13-year-old possibly have? Maria, didn't he believe me? Don't think I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan give you pocket money every month, and you've saved all the Christmas and birthday money over the years. Have you forgotten? If I hadn't switched you with the real Sullivan heiress, where would you be now? She was threatening me, saying if I didn't give her money, she would expose me and make my life miserable. She thought I would be scared, and I suggested going back with her to see. What are you going back for? What if someone recognizes you? If I don't go back to check, how will I know if you've been taking good care of her? Maria agreed and took me back to her home over the weekend while her parents and brother were away. Maria's house was in a very old neighborhood. The yard was large, but dilapidated, cluttered with all sorts of messy things. A strikingly beautiful girl dressed in tattered clothes was struggling to do laundry. Her name was Claire Liu, and she had a brother named Kevin Liu. She was slender and petite, but her face was beautiful, with a heroic air in her brows and eyes. At first glance, I knew she was my parents' biological child. She looked exactly like Mom. A tearing sound, perhaps the clothes were too old and had been worn thin from washing. Maria, who had always been gentle at the Sullivans, charged forward without hesitation and raised her hand to strike. I'll beat you to death, you useless thing, can't do any work properly, just know how to ruin things. How much money do you think this family has for you to waste? The girl covered her head and remained silent, just staring at me with a measuring gaze. Such beatings were commonplace for her. She had long grown accustomed to them. I stepped forward and grabbed Maria's arm. Stop hitting her. Maria was furious, but forced a smile. Young miss, please don't interfere. This girl needs discipline. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Need discipline? My face turned cold too. If you still want money, stop right now. Maria finally stopped, but not without hurling a few more insults. If it weren't for the young mistress pleading for you, I'd beat you to death today. Someone like you is destined to stay at the bottom forever. Look, this is what a real young mistress looks like, born to live a life of nobility. How could she say such things without feeling ashamed? I wished I could crawl into a hole and disappear. I saw Kevin again, lying in the room playing mobile games. He was about 15 or 16, looking quite sturdy with broad shoulders and a thick waist, clearly better nourished than Claire. When he saw what I was wearing, his eyes gleamed with greed. Then I spotted Walter, a man in his 40s with a sleazy look, appearing utterly lazy. When he saw me, his face also lit up with greed. He even tried to demand the necklace around my neck, but Maria stopped him. Maria said these were gifts from the mistress, and giving them away now would raise suspicion. She told him to wait a few days until she could bring the money back. These were my biological parents and brother. They showed no joy at seeing me, only greed in their eyes. Maria didn't let me look for long, quickly leading me away. Look, our whole family has been supporting your privileged life. You can't be ungrateful. You must send money every month to help us get a better house. I remained silent, telling her to wait. Then that evening, I went into my parents' room and told them everything. My parents were much calmer than I expected. They even called my brother Ethan over. The expressions on all 3 of their faces made me realize in an instant. You've known all along that I'm not your biological child, I said. Of course, everyone in the Sullivan family is so sharp-witted, except me, the fool. Even I could tell I wasn't biologically related. How could they not have noticed? Ethan hesitated to speak while Mom and Dad asked me if it was true. I said they'd know if they came to see for themselves. I took them to the Liu residence, where Claire was being beaten again, apparently because Kevin had lost a video game, and Claire happened to call him for dinner when he lashed out. The Sullivans' bodyguards restrained Kevin and Walter. Just as I said, the moment they saw Claire, they knew she was their biological daughter. The Liu family and Maria were all restrained. Seeing the scars Claire revealed her parents and Ethan were heartbroken, hugging her and crying. I stood to the side, feeling both sorrow and awkwardness. Maria even had the nerve to demand child support for raising the Sullivan family as child all these years, then cursed me as heartless and ungrateful. They glared at me viciously, as if they wanted to skin me alive. What good does ruining this family do for you, Ava, you fool? Do you really think they keep you around after exposing us? The Sullivans ignored them. I fell to my knees with a thud. Mom, Dad, please let me stay with you for a few more years. I'll leave as soon as I get into college. I want to overstay my welcome. All right, and I owe you for all the years of support, and I'll pay you back when I have money. I can be the family's maid. I can work. I would never go back to the Liu family. That place was a den of wolves. For the Sullivans negotiated with the Liu family, no charges for kidnapping would be filed, but both Claire and I would be taken back. The Liu family wanted to extort money, saying they had to keep at least one of the two daughters. They thought the Sullivans loved me dearly and could be blackmailed, but couldn't care less about my predicament. I stood aside, crying with my head lowered. My biological parents turned out to be such shameless scum. Even if you accuse us of child trafficking, you have no proof. It was just a hospital mix-up. Tears streaming down my face, I shouted angrily, one private hospital and one public hospital. How could they possibly mix up the babies? Do you think everyone is an idiot? Ethan glanced at me, his expression unreadable, knowing I wasn't their biological child, and with parents like these, he must despise me, right? After all, I carry the same terrible genes. The Sullivans also presented evidence, a surveillance video of Maria speaking to me in the kitchen. It clearly showed her admitting in her own words that she had switched me and Claire at birth. Maria and I stared at each other in shock, so whether I reported it or not, they already knew. In the end, to avoid going to jail, the Liu family had no choice but to compromise. I followed them back to the Sullivan residence, my heart uneasy, then entered my room intending to take out my study materials and simple clothes. Everything here belonged to Claire. No, it should be Claire Sullivan's, not mine. But Mom and Dad came up and hugged me. Ava, you're the good child we raised. You'll always be our child. You don't need to move out or work, as a nanny will raise you to adulthood. Ethan watched me silently from behind, but nodded as well. I cried and said thank you. I'm sorry. Beyond that, I didn't know what else to say. Claire stood at the doorway, watching us cry, her expression remaining faint throughout. I think she must hate me to death, and she has every right to, whether intentional or not. It was me who lived the privileged life of the Sullivan family as eldest daughter for 13 years in her place. While I enjoyed a life of luxury in the Sullivan household, waited on hand and foot, she endured beatings and scoldings in the Liu family, working herself to the bone, serving those two grown men. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. Mom and Dad prepared a new room for Claire right next to mine. Since we're about the same age, they hope we can get along peacefully. Then, they quickly enrolled Claire in school, saying we should look out for each other, and that I should help Claire quickly adapt to school life. At school, Claire was in the same class as me. When it was mentioned that we were sisters, everyone was very curious. You two are about the same age and share the same last name. Are you cousins? Claire remained silent, just staring straight at me. I smiled and said, we're twins. My older sister used to have poor health and was recuperating elsewhere. Twins? You don't look alike. Yeah, you two don't resemble each other at all. I could only explain that we were fraternal twins, so it was perfectly normal for us to look different. Claire remained quiet the whole time, just watching me with an inscrutable smile. I think she saw through my little scheme. I deliberately said we were twins, not admitting I was the fake heiress, so my classmates wouldn't mock me. Kids are competitive at a private school. If people found out I was an imposter, and worse, the daughter of criminals, I'd be laughed to death. After class, I found Claire to apologize. I'm sorry, I had to protect myself. Claire just nodded and said whatever. We attended a combined middle and high school, where the pressure of entrance exams was absent, making academic life relatively relaxed with minimal competition, allowing for a rich variety of extracurricular activities. While everyone else was busy cultivating special talents or joining various clubs, Claire was passionately devoted to all academic subjects, studying with relentless intensity. She loved reading and learning, and her family even hired tutors who were graduates from prestigious universities for her. One night when I brought her some milk, I found her still studying. Curious, I asked why she was pushing herself so hard. She is now the eldest daughter of the Sullivan family, and her parents have always felt indebted to her, treating her even better than their son. She didn't actually need to work so hard, but Claire just glanced at me and said coolly, relying on others is never as good as relying on yourself. I was silent for a long moment. You're just like Mom and Dad, they said the same thing to me. Only I heard it, but didn't fully take it to heart. But they were right. Thinking of my biological parents, I started to work hard too. I gave up those special skills and began studying hard like Claire, attending tutoring sessions with her. Our grades improved rapidly, but Claire's progress was noticeably greater. She ranked first in the city, while I barely managed to stay in the upper tier. Natural intelligence makes a big difference with the Liu family's brains. I was nowhere near as smart as Claire. No matter how hard I try, I can never match her achievements. I want to ask her how she studies, but I don't dare. Because she always seems so distant, whether it's toward me, our parents, or our brother, always aloof. Our parents think she's just not used to being back yet, but I think she probably hates me, and she has every right to. 6 After entering high school, trouble still found me. The Liu family cornered me near the school, claiming I was their daughter, who couldn't enjoy a good life, while forgetting about them. They demanded money from me, threatening to harass me at school otherwise, to expose me as a fake heiress to everyone. They insisted I recognize my true place, just some country bumpkin from the slums, worthless trash who'd be bullied to death, without an elder brother as protection. I refused to give them money. Once started, it would become a bottomless pit. They'd never be satisfied. As I turned to leave, I noticed Claire watching me from not far away. I felt utterly mortified. She must have witnessed my most humiliating moment. The next day, somehow the news that I wasn't the real heiress had spread throughout the school. My classmates looked at me with contempt and scrutiny in their eyes. Ava Sullivan, you really know how to flatter yourself. You're just the nanny's child who stole Claire's identity all these years, and you still have the nerve to call yourselves twins. Your so-called parents are terrible people. Swapping someone else's child is a crime. How shameless. You must be just like them, right? Still clinging to the Sullivan family, refusing to leave, just can't give up the good life. How despicable, always acting so high and mighty, but you're just a criminal-esque child. I always said she looked so plain, nothing like Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan. Turns out she really is a fake. At first they only spoke loudly behind my back, saying things that were true, things I couldn't refute. Later they said it to my face, shoved me, excluded me from group activities, and covered their mouths in disgust when I approached, calling me a sewer rat. The class monitor Blake Anderson gave me a carton of milk and comforted me, telling me not to take it to heart. Blake was the school's golden boy, excellent family background, top grades, a participant in various international competitions, and incredibly talented. Though we hadn't interacted much before, I was truly grateful he was willing to help me. But his kindness unexpectedly made me a target for bullying by his admirers. They cornered me in the bathroom, dumped trash over my head, and threw dirty water on me. They pulled at my clothes and hit me. I fought back, but was no match against so many. At the critical moment, someone kicked open the restroom door, wielding a hose, and spraying the entire bathroom until it looked like a flooded Jean Sean mountain. The girl who had been bullying me screamed in terror and fled while a slender, yet strong hand pulled me toward the exit. Are you okay? I froze for a second. It was Claire. The moment Claire dropped the hose, the girls finally recognized her. You're insane, Claire. She stole over a decade of your life, and you're actually helping her. Are you being bullied by her? Too scared to speak up, forced to assist her? Tell us, we'll help you. Claire gripped my hand, instead casting a cold glance at the crowd. I despise infighting among women the most. If you want something, go earn it properly. What kind of skill is bullying others? Ava is my sister, always will be. If you dare lay a finger on her again, don't blame me for what happens next. She pulled me away with her, and in that moment, watching her profile, I felt like she was glowing. Claire took me to the school infirmary and had me change into gym clothes. After I changed, she wiped my face with tissues. What are you crying for? I touched my face only to realize I had been crying all along. I'm sorry I stole 13 years of your life. I always thought you hated me. Thank you for helping me. Claire should hate me, yet she still helped me. She wiped my face roughly, making it sting, though she kept a stern expression and rarely smiled. I felt like I understood her a little better now. She may appear cold, but her heart is warm. She is just not good at expressing it. Are you laughing? Are you an idiot? I really am more foolish than you. No matter how hard I study, I can never get the top grades. She paused. If you don't understand, you can ask me. My heart leapt with joy. Thank you. She wiped my face, then stuffed my dirty clothes into a plastic bag before turning to ask, don't you suspect I was the one who revealed that? After all, I'm the one at school who knows the most about it, and you still think I hate you? I froze for a moment, staring at her dumbfounded. But if you wanted to say it, wouldn't you have said it long ago? It couldn't possibly be you. Claire might be cold, but she is straightforward in her actions. She wouldn't do something like this behind someone's back. And my gut tells me it's not her. Claire blinked at me, then ruffled my hair. You're really clueless, Haven't you seen those tacky dramas about rich families swapping daughters? I shook my head, then nodded. I have, but in those the fake heiress is always the villain. I'm the villain here. Claire suddenly laughed and tousled my hair. So silly. I rarely saw her smile, but when she did, it was truly beautiful, like a gentle breeze that scattered the gloom that had lingered in my heart for years. The Lius came to see me a few more times, but I never gave in. Anyway, everyone at school already knows about me. I'm not afraid of what you say. Walter and Maria both scolded me, saying I didn't know what was good for me. You're living off charity at the Sullivan's place. They all know you're our blood. No one will ever like you. Look down on us. But you're just like us rats in the gutter, who will never see the light of day. When they couldn't get money from me, they wanted to hit me, hurling vicious insults. It hurt me deeply, but I could only pretend not to hear. I would never give them a single penny, no matter what. At school, those girls no longer dared to bully me openly, but they would exclude me behind my back. Often emotional abuse and silent exclusion are more terrifying than physical harm. No one would sit with me. They drew rats on my desk, poured detergent, and no one spoke to me. Even passing out worksheets would skip over me. I didn't fight back or say anything. I just kept studying in silence. Claire was right. Relying on others is never as dependable as relying on yourself. Rather than dwelling on these matters, I should focus on studying hard and achieving my own success. Besides, I have Claire by my side. Perhaps what happened earlier flipped a switch. She has become much closer to me now, practically inseparable. She is proving through her actions that she stands with me, that the Sullivans haven't rejected me. Besides her, there was also the class monitor Blake. He was very kind to me too. He would hand me test papers separately and even wipe away the dirt on my desk. The girls all thought he liked me. Some said he had poor taste, or that I had bewitched him, claiming I came from a poor background and knew some vulgar tricks to seduce people. I really didn't understand. They called me ugly, yet accused me of being seductive. Wasn't he that contradictory? We didn't tell our families about the bullying. My brother was away at university and busy, and my parents were also preoccupied. Their business had hit some trouble recently. They left early and returned late every day, and I didn't want to add to their burdens. When I said this, Claire looked at me, silently patted my head, and sighed. Perhaps because I was always being bullied, she sighed more and more often when looking at me. By the time high school was nearly over, Blake had secured an admission spot at a prestigious foreign university, and many classmates were also planning to study abroad afterward. Both Claire and I chose to take the National College entrance exam and continue our studies domestically. Studying abroad costs too much money. Ever since I learned about my true identity, I've been trying to minimize expenses, not wanting to spend too much of the Sullivans' money. Blake asked me out, saying he is going abroad soon and has something to tell me. His words carried a certain ambiguity, as if he was about to confess his feelings. All these years only he and Claire have been kind to me. I'm truly grateful to him. If I had to say whether I liked him, maybe I did. I had dressed up a little. Claire looked at me silently before suddenly asking, do you like him? I thought for a moment maybe a little, but he's going abroad, so even if we liked each other we couldn't be together. I just wanted to be honest with him. Claire didn't say anything more and walked away clutching her exercise book. 9. I just never expected Blake would choose a bar as our meeting place. He looked completely different from his bookish school persona, dressed like a playboy. He invited me to sit, ordered 2 bottles of alcohol, and urged me to drink. I pushed it away not wanting to, but Blake poured a glass anyway. Ava, will hardly see each other after graduation. Consider this a farewell drink for me. 1. You give me this much face. All these years your classmates have been targeting you, and I'm the only one who has helped you. Ava, you should understand my feelings for you. With things being said to this extent, I had no choice but to drink a glass of wine. Just 1 glass, and I already started feeling dizzy, my limbs no longer obeying me. Blake dragged me into a private booth inside the bar. It was noisy inside, and he grabbed my wrist, pulling me toward him. Let go, please, let go. I don't like you. I didn't like him anymore. That tiny bit of fondness had vanished without a trace in this moment. He gripped me tighter. You're still conscious. Good. I like you awake better than the last puppet. I couldn't hold back my tears. Why, I thought he was supposed to like me, but this wasn't how affection should feel. Black stopped his movement and suddenly slapped me. Do you think I like you? Of course I don't. You're just a stinky rat from the sewers. How could I possibly like you? All these years, I was just playing with you. Do you know why those people targeted you? Because I knew many liked me, so I deliberately acted nice to you. Those love-struck girls would then help me deal with you. I truly didn't understand why, because I enjoyed watching you get bullied. It was so much fun. Our school was too boring. What could be more thrilling than seeing a girl constantly targeted, bullied, and humiliated, yet still standing strong? Pervert. Yes, a complete pervert. Did you spread those rumors about me too? Of course, good things shouldn't be kept to myself. The way you looked when you were being bullied, wanting to cry, but not daring to, was absolutely hilarious. He gesticulated wildly, as if recounting some glorious achievement. Such a shame those girls were too weak and afraid to offend the Sullivans, otherwise having them take nude photos of you and post them online, watching you grieve, suffer, maybe even attempt suicide, then me coming to your rescue would have been so much more entertaining, don't you think? Yes, insane, truly insane. He actually takes pleasure in tormenting me, reveling in the feeling of having everything under his control. Yes, a complete pervert. It's fine, no one else filming, I'll do it myself. As he spoke, he began taking photos of me. I tried to cover my face while crying, but he yanked my hands away. Blake, my parents won't let you get away with this, and neither will I. You'll die a wretched death. Then just wait, my family has money, and you won't be able to marry anyone else anyway. When the time comes, they'll make you marry me, and you'll just be my little plaything. If I really fell into his hands, I'd rather die than live like that for the rest of my life. What should I do? What should I do? Just as he was gloating, a foot kicked open the private room's door, followed by another kick that sent him flying. Claire's coat draped over me as she picked me up, burying my head in her embrace to shield me from seeing Blake being beaten up by the bodyguards. It's okay now, it's okay, big sister is here. What Blake did was too despicable. Claire was furious and almost crippled him. The Andersons came to negotiate, ultimately exchanging substantial benefits for dropping charges against him. Claire had her first argument with Sullivan's parents. He's a scumbag. He almost ruined Ava. Ethan, who had rushed back, was also furious. The siblings stood together in front of my bed, arguing with our parents. Just for money, you'd let Ava suffer? That scumbag should be in jail. If we let him go now, he'll definitely come back to harass Ava. Mom and Dad could only explain to them over and over, even if Blake goes to jail, it won't be for long. The Andersons won't let us off, and they certainly won't let Ava go. When that happens, Ava's fate will be even worse. Don't you understand? When you lack the strength, you must learn to endure, to bide your time, and strike back only when you're strong enough. Claire and Ethan fell silent. Mom and Dad came over and hugged me. Mom gently touched my swollen face. Ava, we're sorry we failed to protect you, but you have to understand your father, and I had no other choice. I smiled. Mom, I understand. I knew the industry had been struggling these past few years, and my parents were busy trying to keep the business afloat. They had to put on smiles at banquets, bowing and scraping just to secure a single business deal. Yet they never mentioned any of this to us, just as we didn't share our school troubles to avoid adding to their burdens. If we were to confront the Andersons now, the Sullivans wouldn't stand a chance. We all understood my brother, and Claire did too. After that, we never brought it up again, and Blake was sent abroad. Only before he left, he spread rumors among our classmates claiming I had seduced him, that I thought it was my last chance before he went abroad, so I invited him to a bar to offer myself to him. His story gained traction with many classmates. After all, I wasn't particularly beautiful, just slightly above average, and my grades and family background couldn't compare to Blake's. Over the years, my reputation had deteriorated so badly that I was practically despised by everyone. It could only be me seducing him, never him plotting against me. My classmates despised me even more, and the bullying escalated. Once again, someone dragged me to the rooftop, trying to take off my clothes to take photos. This must have been Blake's doing. Claire rushed forward, grabbed the ringleader, and pushed her to the edge of the rooftop, threatening to throw her off. That girl was Blake's die-hard fan, secretly in love with him for many years. She was so scared. She wet her pants. What do you want to do? Murder is illegal. Claire laughed like a demon. If it's illegal, I'll go to jail, but you definitely won't see it. Let me guess, how badly will you be smashed? When you fall, will your face be crushed? The girl cried, hysterically screaming that she would never dare again. Claire didn't let go of her until she was nearly scared to the point of fainting. She warned those girls that if they dared to mess with me again, she'd burn their houses down. The bold fear, the reckless, the ferocity in Claire's eyes terrified those girls, and they truly never bothered me again. I stood on the rooftop wailing loudly, while Claire wiped my tears and called me a useless waste of space. Why are you crying? Fight back. Next time tears are useless, no one will pity you. Still sobbing, I replied, I won't cry anymore. I won't make you feel sorry for me. Claire's expression shifted as she pursed her lips to one side, who said, I pity you. After this incident, the school became much quieter and fewer people bothered me. However, Claire studied even harder, not just by herself, but also dragging me along. Ava, we have to rely on ourselves. You need to become stronger. She didn't just study, she also made me exercise, changed my diet, and increased my protein intake. By the time the college entrance exams were over, I had gained 10 pounds. Our parents originally wanted to send us on a vacation to relax, but Claire disagreed and immediately dragged me to the gym, pulling me along to work out and build muscle. I've never been in the best health since childhood, and the process of building muscle has been excruciating. Claire wouldn't let me stop. I could cry, but I couldn't stop. Because lifting weights was so exhausting, my hands were shaking so badly during dinner that I couldn't even hold the chopstick steady. My parents, seeing how miserable I was, wanted to plead for mercy, but Claire cut them off. She swapped out my spoon for me, then helped me turn the meal into a rice bowl with toppings, saying we might as well have dumplings tomorrow. Don't stop, keep practicing. Do you want to be bullied again? I don't want to be bullied, trembling as I say, it's fine, I can handle this. A few days later, the results came out. She was the top scorer in the entire state while I trailed behind by over 100 points. She glared at my grades, her eyes burning with anger. I hid behind Ethan in fear, muttering, I did my best. I've really tried my best, but my intelligence is truly limited. It's not something that can be made up for through effort alone. Claire held the college application guidebook and spent a long time discussing it with her counselor before finally applying to 2 neighboring schools alongside me. She was at University A, and I was at University C. The distance between us was short, but the 2 schools were worlds apart. She asked her family to rent an apartment near the school, so she wouldn't have to live in the dormitory. You're living with me, and even in college you better study hard and stay fit. Don't even think about running away. After submitting my college applications, my days remained filled with exercise, studying, driving practice, and interning at my parents' company, starting from doing odd jobs. The people in the company didn't know our true identities, thinking we were just there for work-study programs, so they assigned us all sorts of trivial tasks. Claire began learning about the company's affairs, and whatever she studied, she would pull me along to teach me, making sure I memorized it too. Sometimes I feel like she's not my sister, but more like a father to me. Before the new semester began, she did one more thing in the class group chat. She exposed the nasty remarks several bullies had made behind their classmates' backs, the same ones who often picked on me. The ones who led the bullying not only targeted me, but also loved to gossip behind my back. They would badmouth each other behind their backs. Claire usually kept quiet, so most people didn't guard their words around her. Since they were all in the same class, she overheard practically everything. She recorded all the dates and names, then posted them in the group chat. The class group chat exploded as those few started arguing. The entire group had turned into a chaotic marketplace, buzzing with endless noise. Some even came to scold Claire for being wicked, to which Claire replied that Blake had made her do it all. Blake loved nothing more than watching classmates turn on each other like dogs. Claire held up her tablet for me to see. Look, these people aren't scary at all. They're so dull that the only way they can feel superior is by bullying others behind their backs. If you made them say those things to your face, they wouldn't even have the courage to admit it. So they're all paper tigers, nothing to fear. Watching her radiant smile, I couldn't help but grin too. I'm not afraid. I stopped being afraid of them a long time ago. 12. Both Claire and I were admitted to our first choice universities, entering University A and University C respectively. She compared both of our class schedules and even copied down other useful courses available at the school, creating a more detailed timetable. She insisted that I not only attend my required courses, but also audit classes with her at University A. The teaching quality at University A was clearly superior, and studying diligently there would benefit my future career prospects. While others in college started to take it easy, many would stay in their dorms all day without stepping out, and some even disappeared for days to play video games. Claire and I, however, were busier than during our senior year of high school, rising earlier than roosters and sleeping later than dogs. When guys tried to pursue Claire, she would bluntly ask about their GPAs, whether they'd published any papers, and what their career plans were. They all fled in fear, whispering behind her back that she was dull, a pretty-faced bookworm with nothing else to offer. At night, I looked at Claire's profile and thought how blind those people were. How could Claire be boring? She was the most interesting person in the world. She took me to school workouts and internships and started her own business when most seniors were preparing for graduate school entrance exams. Aren't we going back to the Sullivan Group? I thought Claire would return to inherit her family's business. Our parents always said they wanted us to come back after graduation. Claire shook her head. No, we'll start a company that belongs to you, and we will each own half the shares. Take out all the money you've saved over the years. We're burning our boats. My parents never treated me unfairly all these years. Whatever Claire had, I had too. I saved all that money. Claire said we were starting a business and wouldn't let me keep a single penny. I had no choice but to take out my passbook and show her. Claire raised an eyebrow slightly. You're quite the saver. I smiled sheepishly. I was thinking of buying a place and moving out. After graduation, I couldn't keep imposing on the Sullivans. She smacked the back of my head, telling me not to think about settling down before establishing my career. But I felt I was a bit slow. Wouldn't it be better to find someone smarter to start a business with? I'm too dumb. I'll just hold you back. Compared to her classmates, I'm really quite stupid. Claire patted my head. You're not dumb, you're good. At many things you're disciplined, organized, and very attentive. You notice details, even I miss. Her praise made me blush. Claire had never complimented anyone before. When we founded the company, Claire and I each contributed half the capital, and the only employees were the two of us. At first we started with some trading, buying goods, and reselling them. Gradually we began hiring people, then moved into physical stores, and eventually opened our own factory. 3 years after graduating from university, our assets were about to surpass the Sullivans. When our parents learned we'd started our own business, they didn't object. In fact, they were very supportive. The Sullivan family's business slowly recovered, but didn't show much significant improvement. Blake returned from abroad, inherited the family business, and began targeting the Sullivans. 5 years after graduation, our business had grown substantially. There was a countdown calendar on Claire's desk. Whenever I asked her what it was for, she wouldn't tell me, saying only that I'd find out when the time came. At this time, Blake came to see me again at 13. He came to my home to propose, saying he had been momentarily confused back then and that he actually liked me. Not even a dog would believe that my parents flatly refused, while Ethan and Claire nearly beat him out the door, yet Blake still kept shouting for me to consider it. He started messaging me, harassing me, saying he missed the way I used to sob in his arms, missed the pitiful expression I had when facing his kindness after being bullied by classmates. He said as long as I married him and became his good little toy, he would support the Sullivan family's business. Except for having to play along with his twisted games, he would satisfy all my financial demands. I told him to get lost. He tried to summon me again, but I refused and blocked him. To my shock, during a business negotiation, he showed up unexpectedly. After bribing the manager, he attempted to abduct and imprison me. Ava, you're the perfect toy. Come with me, and I'll make you happy. Happy my ass. I was no longer the crying little Ava from back then. I kicked him right in the crotch, leaving him unable to stand. Then, before his bodyguards could react, I gave him a few more kicks and quickly fled the scene. Later I heard from others that the Anderson family's eldest young master developed a private condition. He became impotent. I figured he must hate me even more now. When I told Claire about it, she said I did well and had nothing to fear. She tore off the last page of the countdown calendar and threw it into the trash bin. It's time to fight back. She united our company with our family's and our brother's businesses, joining forces with several friends and Anderson family's competitors to begin encircling the Anderson family. No matter how powerful the Anderson family was, they couldn't withstand the combined assault from so many companies. Moreover, Claire submitted evidence of the Anderson family's tax evasion and use of substandard materials, resulting in hefty fines, a tarnished reputation, and several scapegoats being sent to prison. The Anderson family was already surrounded by enemies, but Blake hated me even more. He bribed the Liu family to pester me for alimony, saying that since I earned so much money, I should be filial to my parents. I told him to get lost. Take a good look. My legal guardians have always been the Sullivans. You never raised me for a single day. Even if you sue me, the judge will side with me. Maybe spend some time reading a book instead. The Liu family didn't understand the law and actually went to consult a lawyer. Afterward, the lawyer told them they couldn't win. But the Liu family wouldn't give up. They tried to tarnish my reputation online, tearfully claiming I was greedy for wealth and refused to acknowledge them. The Liu family's living conditions were poor, appearing even more pitiful on camera. Netizens believed their story and began flooding the internet with vicious insults directed at me. I simply turned a blind eye and let the company's legal team handle it. Those who slander me will all receive lawyer's letters. I showed the video from back then to the Liu family. If you continue to harass me, we'll meet in court. There's solid evidence of your human trafficking. At worst, it'll be mutual destruction. If I go down, you won't get off easy either. The Liu family, not wanting to go to jail, did behave for a while, but soon started causing trouble again. Kevin and Walter came to see me, saying Maria was critically ill and wanted to see me one last time. I don't want to go. Let them leave. They threatened that if I didn't go, they would harass the Sullivan family. Helpless, I had no choice but to follow, but it was a trap. Blake had people lying in wait. They knocked me unconscious and locked me up. 14, I was locked in a spacious basement with Blake standing arrogantly before me. Ava, we meet again. Did you think crippling me would make me lose interest in you? My hands and feet were shackled, leaving me no escape as I stared coldly at him. Black chuckled while pulling out an array of objects. Did you think pleasuring women could only be done with men's tools? Modern society has developed many delights just for you women. Look, all these can be used on you. As I took in those bizarre instruments, my expression finally twisted into terror. My fear delighted him. I love seeing you like this, so frightened, like a little rabbit. It makes me want to pluck your fur, skin you alive, hang you up, and whip you with a salt lace lash. Psycho, I bit my lip and avoided his gaze. Looking at this pervert too much makes me sick. Blake was still excitedly holding those tools, eager to try each one on me. I asked, did you have the Liu family trick me into coming here and then capture me? He was so pleased he didn't hide anything. Yes, they took my money and were thrilled. Don't worry, I know you don't like them. I've already sent people to deal with them. What else there to handle? Of course, it's about getting rid of them. After what they did to you, I can't possibly let them exist. My toy is for me alone to play with. Damn, he truly deranged, absolutely insane. Just as Blake reached for me, the police burst through the door and pinned him down. Ethan and Claire rushed in right after throwing their arms around me. Claire kept running her hands over me, checking, does it hurt? Are you injured? I said, no, don't worry, it's fine, your timing was perfect. Claire hugged me so tightly, she nearly choked me. For the first time, Claire cried. I held her and comforted her for a long time before she calmed down a bit. You shouldn't have made this plan. Never do something like this again. Using yourself as bait. Do you know how terrifying it was? You could have gotten hurt. You could have died. This was indeed my plan. I knew Blake and the Liu family wouldn't let me off, so I planted a tracker on myself. Once I entered the Liu residence, someone was following me. I wanted to force Blake to reveal his true colors, then take them all down in one fell swoop. This time we have nothing left to fear. The Anderson family's business has finally collapsed, undergoing bankruptcy liquidation, and Blake has been imprisoned. He acted swiftly, truly murdering members of the Liu family. Kevin, Walter, and Maria were all poisoned by him. He had poisoned the money he gave to the Liu family. When the Lius counted the cash, they licked their fingers and quickly died from the poison. By the time the police arrived, they were all dead. Murder, kidnapping. Black was sentenced to death as well. The online rumors finally died down too. Everything was calm again. For all of this, I'm truly grateful to Claire. It was she who pushed me to work hard, helped establish the company, and made me realize my own potential. You don't have to work so hard. You could do just as well at the Sullivan family's company, and together with your brother you could help the Sullivans prosper. Starting your own business is always tougher. We've had a hard time these years. I had no one to rely on, so hardship was to be expected, but Claire didn't need to suffer like this. Claire smiled and patted my head. You always say the Sullivans have nothing to do with you, so I brought you to build our own company. Now you have capital that truly belongs to you, and you'll never have to feel inferior again. Ava, you've always been so brave. You're the bravest person I've ever known. Never feel inferior, never look down on yourself, and never mind what those people say. You always say, thank you for not hating you, thank you for helping you stand up to the bullying at school, thank you for starting a business with you. But the truth is I've always been grateful to you. I didn't understand. I stole 13 years of your life. What could you possibly thank me for? Claire smiled and said, because when you went to the Liu family and saw my situation, you still chose to expose them and tell the truth without hesitation. You knew perfectly well that once you spoke up, you'd be the one suffering in the Liu family, possibly even worse off than I was, yet you still said it. I think if it were me, I might not have had that kind of courage. I wouldn't trade such a good life for that kind of hardship. So in her heart, I've always been the bravest one. Even though I'm usually timid, I possess a courage most people don't have. I felt deeply ashamed. Even without me, our parents would have uncovered the truth and rescued you soon enough. Claire smiled and patted my head. It's different. It was your courage that made our parents determined to keep you. I hugged her with a smile that was just basic decency. Seeing how miserably you were living, how could I bear to keep occupying your identity? Claire returned my embrace. That's your greatest virtue, always holding on to hope, always keeping kindness in your heart. She said, we're all girls, we can help each other without competition, and we can create a better future for ourselves without resorting to underhanded struggles with others. But I've always felt that Claire was the light in my life, and I'm grateful she continued to be that light. 15 extra Claire's perspective. I'm Claire. Before I turned 13, my name was Claire Liu. From a very young age, I knew I wasn't the biological child of the Liu family. I didn't look like them at all. I thought that once I gained the ability, I would definitely leave the Liu family and strive to live the life I wanted. As for my biological parents, I didn't hold any expectations of them. What if they had abandoned me? The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Rather than pinning hopes on others, it's better to rely on oneself. When I was 13, Maria brought Eva back. The moment I saw Eva, I thought she looked like a spoiled little princess. She wasn't particularly beautiful, but her eyes were lovely, like a little rabbit, ready to turn red and tear up at the slightest touch. I could tell she was the Liu family's true biological child. Her eyes and brows resembled Kevin's so much. So it was her who switched lives with me. Had she grown up in the Liu household, she'd have been beaten until her eyes were perpetually brimming with tears. Maria hits me. I'm used to it by now, but I wonder how Eva would cry if she were the one being hit here. She bold though frightened, she still steps forward to stop Maria. She says if Maria hits me again, she won't get any more money. In that instant, I realize she knows the truth. Maria has been demanding money from her. Someone as selfish as Maria would switch babies into the Sullivan family, of course, just to siphon money from them to support Kevin. In Maria's eyes, men were the heavens while women were nothing but dirt beneath their feet. Even if Eva were her own flesh and blood, she would still look down on her. Eva's gaze at the Liu family was full of contempt. I thought she would surely follow Maria's arrangements, conceal the truth, and continue enjoying this stolen life. She would never return to the Liu family. This place was simply hell. A pampered girl like her would be driven mad by the torment. But unexpectedly, she returned that very night with her parents and brother. Summoning her courage, she angrily confronted Walter and Maria, revealing the truth before tearfully begging to stay with the Sullivans. She was trembling, convinced we should hate her, that all the Sullivans should hate her, and that she'd likely be turned away. I truly couldn't understand. If she was so terrified, why reveal the truth? Why come back at all? For many years afterward, she said it was because of a tiny pang of conscience. I think that little bit of conscience was enough. After returning to the Sullivan family, she always saw herself as a sinner, feeling she had wronged me. Even though she had known nothing about it, she always yielded to me, letting me choose first no matter what, insisting on giving me the best. Even during meals, she wouldn't dare eat the one I liked. I placed the chicken wing in her bowl. Look how skinny she's become. Where's that adorable chubby girl from before? Yet she worried I wouldn't grow tall enough, delivering milk to me punctually every day. Fearing I might be mocked at banquets for not knowing etiquette, she shadowed me closely, reminding me of every detail I needed to mind. At school, she'd also tell me about her classmates' relationships and their family backgrounds. Yet when she was being targeted, she never reached out to anyone for help. She always believed she was a sinner who needed to atone. When I rescued her from the bathroom, she trembled beside me, repeating thank you over and over. She was crying but too afraid to sob loudly, terrified I might grow tired of her. How could I ever tire of her? What a fool. I did notice Blake's behavior, but I never imagined he could be so vile. When Ava went out, I took some people and followed her. Fortunate, yet unfortunate, my suspicions were true. Blake was indeed no good. For the first time I got angry at my parents. They actually traded Ava's as suffering for benefits. They said we couldn't fight the Andersons now, and had to endure it. I understand, but I refuse to accept it, so I train with her, study with her. We will grow strong together. One day the Andersons will be crushed beneath our feet. I've set a countdown to the downfall of the Andersons. Ava isn't particularly bright, and I know dragging her along at my pace exhausts her. But if I don't pull her forward, she'll drift further and further away from us one day. Fortunately, though she wasn't particularly clever, she was hardworking enough. She always thought herself stupid and untalented, but in truth, diligence is also a kind of talent. Starting our own company with Eva after graduation was something I planned long ago. If she felt everything from the Sullivan family had nothing to do with her, then we build her own career, something no one could ever take away from her. Fortunately, we succeeded, and Ava finally gained confidence. With the money she earned, she bought gifts for her parents, and brother bought me clothes, shoes, and all kinds of jewelry, and even purchased a house. When spending money, she no longer had to be overly cautious, as if she were committing some great sin. After just a few words, I could tell she was the kind of person who favors sons over daughters, just like in the stories. Taking down Blake would deal a fatal blow to the Anderson family. With reddened eyes, she begged us if we didn't agree, she would undoubtedly venture into danger alone. In the end, I had no choice but to consent, though I followed closely behind, terrified she might get hurt. Thank goodness, she's unharmed. Blake received the punishment he deserved, and we took care of the Liu family in the process. Ava always believes I'm her light, the continuation of her life's radiance. But she didn't know when she stepped into the Liu family and stood in front of me. When she spoke the truth, that was the first time I saw light in my dark life. So it turns out there really are people, this foolish people whose conscience can outweigh profit, people who can be so timid yet so brave. Ava, may the rest of your life be forever peaceful and smooth. The end.